Hello, everyone. I'm Roshaunda Green, and welcome to the Rangam Career Chat. I am so excited that you joined today. We're going to have a great conversation about LinkedIn job search tips. So, if you are logged in, please invite some of your connections, especially if they're job seekers. This is really going to help them. So, let me tell you a little bit about Rangam. So, Rangam is a minority, women owned, and disability owned workforce solutions company. And our philosophy is that we have empathy that drives innovation and it influences everything that we do. We specialize in attracting and retaining talent globally for IT, engineering, scientific, clinical, healthcare, administrative, finance, and business professional categories. So basically, for every industry and for every job. And we also integrate veterans and individuals with disabilities into the workforce. So we're here for everyone. And we have, I know that I told you about the categories, but sometimes it helps to actually see. So you can actually see our operations job categories, warehouse, clinical, and scientific, finance, and IT. And I want you to wait until the end of the chat because what I did was I went to rangam.com and I pulled some current jobs in every category and the locations just to give you an idea of what you will see when you set up your profile on rangam.com and start searching for jobs. So let's get right into those LinkedIn resume tips. And the reason why it's really important right now to have an active profile. I'm not going to say just have a profile, you forgot your password and you just never went in there. I mean to have an active profile where you're logging in at least once a day. And if you're a job seeker, you're probably should be in there pretty much all day because over 90% of the recruiters are sourcing passive and active candidates from LinkedIn. So what do I mean by passive and active? So if you're an active candidate, that means that you went to LinkedIn, you went to rangam.com, you applied for a job that we have posted, and then we're, engaging you and reviewing your resume and connecting with you for, an interview. If you're passive, that means that your profile was at the all-star level, and LinkedIn will tell you if your profile is at the all-star level, and they'll even take you through the tutorial. It is very user friendly. And if your profile is filled with great keywords, relevant information, and really making yourself searchable or marketable, then your profile can get pulled when a recruiter does a Boolean search. They'll put 3 to 5 keywords in LinkedIn. It'll pull all the profiles that have those keywords in. Then they'll narrow it down to some of those preferred qualifications, and then they'll reach out to you. So LinkedIn works smarter and not harder for you. So while you're sleeping or going about your day, recruiters can be reviewing your resume. So this is why I'm really focusing this session on LinkedIn resume tips. Your digital resume should be just as important and relevant as your physical paper resume, right? So this is what I want you to do. And as I said, LinkedIn is free. They have a free account. I pretty much always keep a free account so that I can learn how to be resourceful and how to coach and mentor people. Because when you're looking for a job, your funds may be low. So if you can afford to, have a paid account, which is premium, costs about $29 a month, then you'll have more access to review, some of the companies that you're working for, and it'll have a few bells and whistles out there. But I can let you know that I've also found a job with a free account, right? You're unemployed, the funds are not coming in, and you're trying to make sure you're paying your bills and staying on top of things, then, this is just another thing that you don't need to pay for. So everything I'm telling you, you can do with a free account. Go set up your profile and post a professional picture with a solid background. Stand up against a wall, with a solid background. Take a picture on your iPhone or have someone take a picture for you. Upload it. There's your picture. And when you're searching for work now, LinkedIn actually has banners that you can put, that will surround your picture. And you can click on the banner, you're open to work. Now, I will be honest with you. When I, first got out into the job market and that banner was available, it took me a minute. Right. Because I was like, do I want to let everyone know that I'm not working? I had like, a pride ego kind of issue with it. Like, this is a private struggle. I mean, I'm unemployed, and then you're watching the news, and so are probably over 50% of the population around the world. When the pandemic came, a lot of people got laid off, a lot of people were off of work, and this is not about pride or ego. This is about me finding gainful employment so that I can, live the lifestyle that I enjoy, which is paying my bills and having transportation and utilities. So let the pride go, let the ego go. You're not out there alone. A lot of people are out of work. And when you put that you're open to work, then that's letting recruiters know they can even source. They can even source. I want to see everyone that's open to work that is a project manager that lives in Georgia, right? That can be in their search and they can pull you. Another thing, when you're open to work, that means that you can start immediately. You don't have to put a 2-week notice in, right? You'll be available for an interview at any time, right? So that makes you definitely look better to recruiters. So if you had any problems with that, you're open to work, then just let it go and focus on the goal of, getting employed. I opened that banner, put that banner on my profile picture, and not only was I able to get some passive, interviews. That means I was just, minding my business, going out there, liking and posting and sharing things, being active on LinkedIn, and then recruiters, reached out to me for jobs. I also found my job at Rangam on LinkedIn. So I'm just not coming to you to say, oh, LinkedIn is great and it's a nice to have. I believe if you're a job seeker, it's necessary. So another thing, when you're on any social media platform and your professional brand is attached to that platform, then make sure that you're utilizing that platform for everything that they have for you, because you want to make sure that people know that you're technically savvy, that you're social media, savvy, and that you understand the platform that you're on. That is very important. So you can actually add a creative background based off, like for me, whatever company I'm working for, then I'm going to use that as my background. When I'm not working, you can actually go to Google and you can search LinkedIn background. They have the dimensions already sized, the specifications. All you have to do is download it and put it up there. And they have a variety. And they'll even put them in categories. They'll say creative, they'll say IT, they'll say business. Some will, maybe you can put in, like if you're project manager, diversity and inclusion, or you're into IT or data or cybersecurity, or if you're into clinical, or whatever category you're into, then you can match that with your job interest. But keep everything professional and focused, and let everything that you add to your LinkedIn profile support your story, support your brand, support what you're pursuing in a job. And for your headline, now this is where you'll hear 50-50, right? So I'm going to give you both sides of it. For me, when I'm employed, I put my job title, because my job title is pretty much focusing on what I'm doing right now, my subject matter expertise, and my focus. Okay. When I was unemployed, I put all of the areas that I have experience in. And I was just trying to make sure that I was searchable and putting those keywords in the forefront, right? Because when someone is scrolling through LinkedIn, they'll probably see only the top third, 1/3 of your profile. So you have to make everything in that top section count, just for me to scroll through and see, right? Because your education, is down at the bottom, and your skills and interests and things like that, and certifications. So at that top third, I need everything to really speak on my behalf. That's my summary. That's my headline. That's my picture. That's my background. I need you to, say, wow, this is an interesting candidate or person. Let me scroll down and see what they're all about. right? So make those things count. And some people will say, don't limit yourself just to your job title if you're employed. Like, tell everybody, everything you bring to the table. I've even read some articles where they'll tell you to bring your sense of humor and just put a funny headline in there. I'm not judging, and I can only tell you what I do. So I gave you, all the things that the subject matter experts are recommending for you, and you make your choice off of how you want your professional brand on social media to speak on your behalf. Okay, so now we're going to go to your introduction. And like I said, everything I'm telling you, when you go through LinkedIn, that wizard will come up and it will literally take you through each section and recommend, do you want to add this? Do you want to take that away? So when I say your introduction, that includes your location. So like for me, I'm in Georgia, so I can say Greater Atlanta metropolitan area, right? You can put your state, you can put your city and state. Some people even put the city and state that they work in because they're aligning their LinkedIn professional profile to their job. So that's completely up to you. You can, definitely select your industry. That's the industry of your company. Or if you're unemployed, then you can put the industry for where you were last employed or you have the most experience. You can really be broad with that. Now, for contact information, this is what you have to think about. In the privacy section, you can put your contact information and you can, select only me. That means only I can see it. But if for me, I'm working, so I may put my work email out there, right? I may put my work cell number out there. It depends on how open and available you want to be. But some people don't, they'll just hide all of their contact information. They'll put it in, but they'll hide it. So that way, if a recruiter, if they have a premium profile, they can, send you an in-mail. That's a email directly into your, LinkedIn account. And when you have a premium account, they allow you to send a certain number of in-mails. If you have a free account, it may be limited, not only to your connections, but the number of in-mails that you have sent for that month. So like make your decision. If you're unemployed, do you want to pay $29 and have more access and be able to connect with more people and see more, information? You have to just weigh your pros and cons there. Another thing that a lot of people like they take for granted, that summary section. When I told you that the first one third, the top part of your profile, that's what people can see in their immediate screen without scrolling down. So for your summary, you really need to have a specific introduction of yourself. Think of this as your digital cover letter. When you think of it in that way, without being too specific, being a little broader, right? Because you may have certain, career interests that you're pursuing. So in that summary section, you want to highlight your experiences and achievements. Some people even have bullet points of, certain areas of expertise or their things that they specialize in, because you're calling everything out. And try to use different keywords in your summary that is not listed in your experience profile. So when I say you want to make yourself marketable and searchable, that means how many keywords can I put in my profile that's going to get me pulled in a Boolean search? How many ways can I showcase and highlight, who I am, what I bring to the table, and why I'm the best candidate or you should employ me? Or, I'm even talking to people that are already employed. Your social media brand speaks to future speaking engagements people may, contact you for. They may have some consultation jobs that they want to partner with on you. You may become a valuable subject matter expert in an area just based off of your activity on LinkedIn, right? And that's what you really want to focus on. And what I want to do is to during this whole conversation, I'm not just telling you the basic things that you'll see in the tutorial, LinkedIn, that you're going through and they recommend things, I'm kind of telling you some things from best practices. I've been on LinkedIn for over 20 years, and I even teach a LinkedIn workshop. I've been teaching that for over 10 years. So I'm telling you things that have actually worked, not only for myself but for other people that I have taught this session to. So on LinkedIn, right, you have a digital resume. What can separate your digital resume from your physical resume? Right. And this is where a physical or paper resume. So on LinkedIn, you can add media. Right. So I've been interviewed for different publications. So I have those publications in my media section. Right. I have I've had been a guest on several webcasts and chat sessions with different people. I save that and upload it, to my media section. So this is where I could probably list it on my resume has a bullet point. My physical resume has a bullet point. On LinkedIn, you can actually click on those articles and view them. Or for some people, you may have worked on some special projects at an organization. Now, if you post that on LinkedIn, take off any confidential information. If you're no longer at that company, make sure that everything is very broad. So you have to be really careful with what you're sharing. So it may be safer to share some unique, documents or media that you created on your own, so that you don't have any conflict of, sharing confidential information. So that's another thing you can do. And in the skills section, right? A lot of people don't maximize all the skills. You can select up to 50 skills. So you can choose 25 hard skills, 25 soft skills. Why would you leave skills off the table and only select 5 or 6 when you're trying to become searchable? You want to be your goal on LinkedIn is to be pulled in a Boolean search if you're a job seeker, right? So another thing that you can do, and I usually do this at the end of every year, I looked for trending skills, right? Because can become antiquated, anything can become irrelevant, and you're frustrated because your resume is not being selected, and you are working really hard. You have to make sure that everything that you're doing is relevant, right? So some of your skills may be antiquated and outdated, and they're not even listed in job descriptions. Right. So look at some of these job descriptions for, some of the jobs that you're applying for. And you can say, you know what, this definitely speaks to my skill set and my experience. And you look at your resume and you don't have any of those keywords that they're looking for in your resume. How are the recruiters going to find you? Okay, because there are thousands of people applying for these jobs. So if I can't find you and you're not getting pulled in my Boolean search, then um, you're not even being reviewed or considered. So make sure that you're using trending words. And if you pull job descriptions for jobs that you're interested in, make sure that your paper, physical resume and your digital LinkedIn profile resume, you're incorporating those words in there. And before you know it, you'll have 50 skills in no time. Okay. So now we're going to go to more tips, right? So in the education section, include your college education, your technical schools, your licenses, certification, certificate of completion, and LinkedIn courses. There are so many free webinars out there right now. There's so much free information. There's free coding classes. There's even I know at an Ivy League school, there's even a happiness class, right? It's hard and soft skills. Bring your whole self to the workplace. So, and when you take a LinkedIn course, that LinkedIn badge is in your profile, right? All of those things make a difference. So you'll have that LinkedIn badge on your digital profile, but you can also add that to your physical paper resume. Just making sure that both resumes, digital and physical, that they're pretty much reflecting the same things. And those are very valuable. And a lot of those LinkedIn courses are free. So, it's not all about how much you paid for your education or your knowledge. It's how strategically you are using this information to help you to get your next job. Okay. And then for volunteer experience is really important. So, like I'll say this all the time, you may not have a leadership role within your organization or have a leadership role in your resume experience background. But if you go volunteer for a nonprofit organization, you could easily be a director or a manager or a team leader, and you can show how you're able to exhibit leadership qualities and skills in that volunteer capacity. And what a lot of recruiters look at for, your volunteerism is that you're going over and beyond. No one is paying you for this, and you're using your time to help others. And while you're helping others, you can also advance your career. Right? I always tell people, help me help you. And that's one way that you can do that. And another thing, if you speak, different languages, make sure that you list all of those languages in your profile. That is very important to be bilingual, trilingual, as many languages as you can speak. And for recommendations, ask for recommendations from executives at organizations that you have worked for your direct managers, for your peers. If you have clients or classmates or teachers or professors, recommendations are great. And the good thing about LinkedIn recommendations is that it's attached directly to your profile. So when you're, applying for a job, you can upload your resume, cover letter, and some will allow you to upload additional documents. So that means that if you have to, keep up with these recommendations and make sure that the recommendations that you're sharing align with, the jobs that you're applying for. But on LinkedIn, everything is there. They can see the recommendations that were given, and the recommendations that you gave to others. So that's great. And be sure that if someone gives you a recommendation and you think highly of them, then ask them if they would like for you to give them a recommendation back. And even in the skills area, people can they can validate your skills. They say, I worked with Roshaunda on this project, for project manager. She's at expert level, worked with her for 3 years. And so those things help to kind of validate that your skills also. So when we talk about groups, so when I talk about LinkedIn, yes, I'm talking about it for job seekers right now. And when you're a job seeker, your network is your net worth. Right? So not only your connections I want you to think about, but I want you to think about groups. Groups is just very important. You can join up to 50 groups. And for me, the way that I navigate my selection is that so anytime that I go to a different company or get a different job or work in a different industry, and as my career is evolving, then my groups evolve with my journey. Okay. So, and you think of your holistic self in a group. Okay. So for me, right now, I'm an account manager for diversity and inclusion. So I'm in diversity and inclusion groups. Okay. I am doing a lot of consultation and recruiting. So I have consultation and recruiting groups. But I also have a project manager background. I was an adjunct professor. And then you bring your holistic self. I'm an African American. I'm a woman. And things that you're passionate about. So you look at your personal, your professional, and you bring all that together, and then you follow those groups and make sure some groups are locked. Okay. So when I say 50 groups and you start breaking down, you know, your holistic self, everything you bring to the table, those 50 groups, get filled really quickly. But one lesson that I learned is for the open groups, you can just join it, you're automatically in. For the locked groups, I can request to join a locked group and it will take up a space even if I'm not accepted in that group yet. right? And everyone is moving, so fast that and going through this process, you're being very detailed. So it can be time consuming when you're first setting up. So when I, started joining groups, I was like, okay, and it'll tell you you're at your max. You have joined, your 50 groups, and then you move on. Okay, you say, okay, I got that field, and I'm going to go to another, category to complete my profile. So I know that I, got promoted or went to another company, and I started changing my groups. And I looked and I said, so I actually requested to join about 30 lot groups, and I got into 25 of those groups. But there were 5 groups that I hadn't received acceptance for. And that means that whoever was managing the group, maybe they're not out there every day, or who knows if they're even at that company had the group, or, whatever happened, right? But what I noticed is that those 5 groups that my acceptance was pending, it took up, slots. So I was like, okay, this was a good lesson learned. So what I tried to do is I try to join open groups, because I'm not going to have time to go back and forth and see if I got accepted or not. That's just something that's just going to take up slots. So that's just my advice to you. But if you see some lot groups, some private groups that really align with what you want to do, then go ahead and join them. But maybe just make a note to yourself that you're going to, check. Maybe check once a month or something like that to see if they accepted you. If not, get those 5 groups out of there, and then, find some other groups. And another thing, that I said is that when you're on a social media platform, make sure that you are, looking like a subject matter expert with, your profile. So customize your URL. Right? So at the end of my URL, I have my whole name, Roshaunda Green. So not only when I'm putting it on my signature line at work, or, if I'm on another social media platform, my LinkedIn, URL is customized. And not only that, it helps you remember it, better when your name is there. Just making sure everything, is putting your brand out there. So if you copy and paste your URL somewhere, your name is there, which means your brand is there, which means that's an extension of you. Okay. And I can't talk enough about customizing those keywords for recruiters to find you, and even complete your interest section, right? Because when recruiters are looking at you, we're not looking at an account manager for diversity and inclusion. We're looking at your hard skills, your soft skills. How are you going to fit into our culture? How are you going to fit into this role? How are you going to interact with others? So listing your interest connects you to other people that have those interests, right? So everything that you're doing is your connection. And what I tell people all the time is LinkedIn is your global corporate handshake. So if you're at a conference, or if you're at any corporate function, and you're, working the room and making your way, around to make new connections and make new contacts, then you think of LinkedIn as your global corporate handshake, where you're connecting with people around the world. So that is what I wanted to share with you for LinkedIn. And when you're on that job search, your brand cannot, you can't, boost your brand enough. All right. So what I did was I went to Rangam.com, and I pulled some jobs that we have in various areas, just to give you an idea, right? So if I'm a job seeker and I come to this career chat, and you're talking about all these jobs that you guys have, and you put them in categories, I said, let me go a deeper level. What if I'm a job seeker? What do I want to see? I want to see the jobs. Okay, so what I have here, and I tried to get a variety of locations, but we have so many. So under operations, I provided some sales analysts, some information management specialists, some document analyst roles. I'll just read a few from each category. For warehouse, I have some assemblers, some electronic technicians, and some warehouse associates. Now in clinical and scientific, I have some lab techs. I have some nurses. We have over 100 nurse jobs out there right now. So I just put a few in there, and then some of the job titles that are not so common, right? I thought one was interesting, a coatings field analyst. So when you go out to Rangam.com, and I'm just giving you an idea of some of the jobs we have out there, kind of look outside of the scope and use less keywords than more, right? So like we have the basic ones like accounts payable, but then we have a unique one called remittance processor, and that's under the finance category. So my goal was really to show you the variety of job titles that could align with what you do, but another company has a different name for it. And IT, we had some of the basics, right? We have the software engineer, the product engineer, project manager, UAT automation tester, iOS developer. We also had like process engineer. So the reason why I showed you the different categories is, remember, we're trying to make you searchable. So if you go to Rangam.com, upload your resume, create your candidate profile, and I think this one kind of sticks out a lot, right? If you're a vice president of employee experience, right? Another company will probably call that vice president of human resources. So when you go to Rangam.com and you're searching for jobs, put something in that will pull up in that keyword. So we probably wouldn't have VP of, you know, um, employee experience, but we would have human resources. Put human resources in, and then you'll see the jobs that you'll pull from that. So this was just a good idea to give you some of the categories of the jobs that we have available. All right, so now it is Q&A time. If you have any questions about what I shared about LinkedIn, if you have any questions about your resume or your job search tactics, so what I'll do next week is I will show you guys how to actually do some job searches. All right, so let's see the question that we have. Can we get a tutorial of how to upload those media links? So, Michelle, thank you so much. What I'll do is I'll take a note of that, and then I'll actually create a detailed presentation that will literally walk you through how to, like I just shared the tips with you, right? But I'm a visual learner too. So I'll actually, the next session, I'll, get on, I'll have the snippets, and it'll show you step by step, right? Because sometimes it's a lot easier when you see it, but they make it pretty easy. You click on the link, and then if you have it saved on your computer, you just upload it. But I will show you how to do that. What is our next question? What about the accomplishments to be included? Awards, certifications, and appreciations. Um, where should the accomplishments be included? Thank you for showing me that. Okay, so there are a couple of areas where you can do this. So for me, if I, had an accomplishment for each job that I work on, I'll have at the bottom of my task that I executed, I'll have a highlights or accomplishment area, right? And then on LinkedIn, when you're creating your profile, you can actually, select sections. So they'll have, an education section, and that's where you can put any of your certifications, any of your degrees, or any academic experience you can put there. But you can even pull in different categories, because you'll see a lot of typical categories like experience, skills, education, summary. But for LinkedIn, they'll even have unique categories that you can pull in, right? Some people may not have volunteer experience, so you wouldn't pull that in. But if you have volunteer experience, then you can pull that in. So when you're customizing your LinkedIn profile, then go ahead and start pulling those categories in, awards. And then for highlights, you can put that under the job where you actually got that highlight or award, or you can put your awards in your summary section also. It doesn't hurt to have that at the top of your profile, because people may not scroll down to the education or award section on your profile. So awards you can definitely highlight, and I see a lot of people highlighting that in their summary area. Okay, can you explain more about keywords? Yes. So, for when I'm thinking about keywords, when you go to a job description and you'll see, this is the job description, these are the required skills, and these are the preferred, qualifications, right? So the keywords would be something that would be in those categories. And a keyword can be anything that's in a job description, right? So it can even be the title: diversity, inclusion. It could be account manager. It could be Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel. It could be product manager. It could be anything that's in that job description that they're looking for. So if I'm doing a search on account manager for diversity and inclusion, then one of the keywords that's going to be in my Boolean search is going to be diversity. Another keyword that I may put in there is account. Another keyword that I may put in there is maybe, client relationship or project management, right? So a keyword can be anything that's listed in that job description that the hiring manager is looking for in the candidates. All right. This was very helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, okay. Do employers have do employers have part-time positions as a person with a disability? Full-time employment is not sustainable for me. That is a great question. And when you're doing your job search, okay, so you can go to rangam.com, and when you put in your preferences, right? So I would probably say, Georgia for states, right? Locations. I would either say Georgia or remote. And then they'll ask you, do you want full time or part time? And now a lot of companies are actually doing flexible work schedules. So that's something that where you kind of create your own schedule. And you're able to work in that flexible shift. So I know that Rangam also has a division called SourceAbled. So at SourceAbled, we actually recruit candidates with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities. And we connect them with clients that have autism at work programs or accept their accommodations. And some of my as a matter of fact, the majority of my SourceAbled candidates, they'll say, I only want to do part-time, and what opportunities do you have? So we do have some jobs where the employers are allowing you to work part-time or flexible schedules. And then it's just kind of finding that right company that allows the accommodations that you need to be successful. So I definitely encourage you to go to sourceable.com, upload your resume and create your candidate profile and search for jobs. You can also reach out to me, Roshaunda at Rangam.com. I have clients on the SourceAble side and the Rangam side, and I would be more than happy to have an informational interview with you and to review your resume and discuss some job opportunities that we have there. So that's definitely an option. So if we don't have any further questions, then I will see you in 2 weeks. So thank you very much. I hope this information was helpful and relevant to you, and it can help you on your job search. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.